Grid Monday. This is the week 4 video lecture for you. Hopefully these are being helpful. Let me know if they're not, or let me know if they are. It'd be nice to have a sense of things. I want to let you know first about the essays I returned. Those essays have plenty of comments, I hope, so if you have questions on those comments, please do let me know. One thing I forgot to include in my broader explanation I sent to everybody as a whole is that when you do revise, if you raise your grade, you receive that higher grade. So, for instance, if you received a C, that would have been about a 74 or 79, I think, I can't remember exactly how those translate into numbers, and you turn that into a B, then your final grade would be a B. Or, for instance, if you received a D and you turned your essay into an A, then your final grade would be an A. So everybody still has the possibility of earning an A, but you'll want to pay attention to my comments because they are what I see as being needed to happen to your essays. And they also, but also be sure to ask me any questions you have. One thing I hadn't explained earlier, because it's kind of confusing, is that normally the English department uses a portfolio system where the faculty get together twice a quarter and read everybody's essays. So if this was a normal quarter, your essays would go into a pile and they would be read by other faculty. They're either given a pass or a no pass. They're either C level, which would be passing, or not passing. So a C minus would receive a not passing, and a C would receive a passing, as would a C minus receive a not passing, and an A or a B would simply receive a passing. It's not tied necessarily to your actual grade that I give you, but it's a way that the department ensures uniformity amongst its different classes, so you can be sure you're getting the same kind of grading to an essay that somebody would in another class. I tell you that because this is how I grade your essays. If I give you a B or a B plus, I'm saying your essay would have no problem at all in the portfolio process. If I'm giving you a C, I'm saying your essay just barely squeaked by the department's minimum expectations. If I give you a C minus, I'm saying you're close. If I give you a D or a D plus, I'm saying you've got a good bit of work to do, and so on like that. And so the reason for this is it requires that you earn a C from this class in order to take English 102, which most of your programs probably require, though many do not. Sometimes it is required you have a C in order to apply a course towards your certificate if you're in a certificate program, and you definitely need a C if you transfer any course without earning an AA degree. So these are the reasons we cluster around the C. So if I gave you a C minus, I'm saying you're close. A C, I'm saying just barely. Same thing with a C plus, you had very little room to spare. If I gave you a B, I'm basically telling you you're in pretty good shape as far as the portfolio process goes. But like I said, we don't do the portfolio process. So, but that's still our framework, our criteria by which we evaluate English 101 essays. And I'm pretty accurate, so you can be comfortable, I guess, in how you are doing in regards to others and how you would fare in other classes based on your writing. Based on the way I'm responding. So that's that. Let's see what else. Well, we have a draft of the second essay due. I changed the due date in the calendar from Tuesday to Wednesday at midnight to give you an extra day. I figured that shouldn't be too tough. I've seen that only about a dozen of the summary materials that are due have been submitted, so you still must get those in order to receive all the possible points you can in the class and get the best grade possible. It's also basically just to make sure you're doing the reading. This second assignment requires you to use the book as what we call a springboard, as a starting point. And you're going to find some idea in your reading. It's something that Diamond has written about. This is mostly about food production in part 2. You're going to take that material and then you're going to find a video and conduct an analysis analysis of that video in relation to whatever point you're dealing with. So the introduction asks you to find a passage from Diamond and use that as a starting point. With that passage, you'll want to provide some background. You'll want to provide a claim for your thesis statement about the video. The claim must be about the video. Essentially, once you begin your analysis of the video, you will you will leave the reading behind for the most part, though you may refer to it in the latter stages of your paragraphs and in the conclusion. So the kinds of things you'll look at in the video, and all these are spelled out in the Savvy Voter. One of the possibilities is, in Savvy Voter, it's described as candidate mythology. I describe it for this assignment maybe as the issue mythology, and it'll depend upon what video you choose, what ideas you choose to work with, so it's a little hard for me to explain that right now, but I think you can see it if you think about presidential candidates from the past or political candidates and apply that notion. Another one, the way that another criteria used to influence people is emotion communicating faces. I think you can see my face right now. I'm probably not communicating a whole lot of emotion. I'm sitting here on my back porch, doing a video, so I'm being rather passive, neutral in that respect. Maybe that says something. I don't know exactly what. I don't know. Another criteria is that you can look at in a video for analysis is the type of clothing that people are wearing, and what does this tell you? I don't know. I haven't paid attention to how I'm framed in here now. You can probably see my t-shirt. It says Spokane Indians on it. I'm not again sure what that tells you about me right now, except I'm kind of dressed very casually, sitting on my back porch. I've got my cup of coffee here. That sort of thing. Another thing you can look at is background location. And again, we've got my back porch here. I had the camera initially aimed over to my right, where there's a bunch of tomato plants in the background, but it was too bright, and so I was kind of dark. I think you can see me now. I don't know if you can see our guinea pig cage in the back. They stay out here during the summer and sit in my wife's classroom. I don't know if you saw the dog wandering around. There's a couple of them out here with me. These are background location. You can maybe see my neighbor's yard a little bit, that kind of stuff. Earlier. So anyway, we're on my back porch. Does that tell you? That I have a back porch where I can do this kind of thing, and it's not too noisy. Maybe you hear my neighbors working, maybe you hear birds chirping. If a siren goes by, you'll hear that, but anyway, that's that. Another element you might look at are the depicted actions. What is going on? Well, the depicted action of this video is me delivering a lecture. Again, not a whole lot going on. I'm sitting in a chair on my back porch, background location again, that kind of thing. I'm not using any props. I guess we could say my coffee cup is a prop, which demonstrates that I drink a lot of coffee, which is true. In the videos, if you look at them, when we look at political videos, they will always have an American flag somewhere. That is a prop. When you see a candidate posing with his family members, those are props. Those kinds of things can be propped. If the president is behind his lectern, that lectern with the presidential seal, those are both props. So there's lots of kinds of things that can be props. Excuse me. And so there's that. So these are possibilities you can look at. The appeal. I'm not making a real hard appeal. There's two kinds of appeal. If you've paid any attention to the discussion about the debt ceiling in the news, I don't know if you follow that, but many of the appeals there are based on fear. The United States is going to default on its debt. Our interest rates for loans will go up. We won't pay our Social Security beneficiaries, that kind of thing. That's being considered an appeal to fear. They fear that we will default, and there's other kinds of appeals that can be made to pity, to patriotism, many things of that nature. So that's one kind of appeal. The other kind of appeal is the argument that is being made. And so any video that is being made is being made to advance some point, to make something happen. I don't know if we can really say as much about this video. It's not inherently political, but it is aimed at helping you do a better job. So that kind of thing is important. Another thing that you can look at in the video is the use of camera angles, close-ups, wide panning shots, that sort of thing. Also superimposed words and images. So these are all various things you can look at in the video. What you would do in this essay is, let's just say for instance, since a lot of the reading talks about the Fertile Crescent, you find a video dealing with food production or maybe drug production, since in Afghanistan, part of the Fertile Crescent, one of the biggest crops there now is opium. And maybe somehow that can be made to work into Diamond's argument. So the background location might be the Kandahar Valley. I know for sure that this is partly where much of the fighting is still going on, but one reason it's such a important area is that lots of opium production, and people need opium, need to farm something to live, and anyhow this will probably fit in with Diamond. And so you could write about the background location. You might write about emotion communicating faces if they show pictures of farmers, the depicted action, so on and so forth. So you'd open up with a topic sentence that says something about, you know, one of the things we want to pay attention to in this video is the background locations. And you would say something like, you'd follow that up with an explanation as to why should we care about background locations. Well, background locations provide us a sense of where the action is taking place and what the conditions in that area are like, though they can be manipulated, obviously. You would then provide some specific examples taken from the video, some farm, some hut, some whatever, some field where people are working, and then you would describe that as objectively as possible in a couple of few sentences, and then you conclude by explaining how looking at this background location, seeing this material, helps develop the idea of whatever the claim was that you made in the thesis. So this is how you'll address this assignment with that, and you'll have 3 or 4 points of that nature in between your introduction and conclusion. As I said, about the only time you'll refer to the book, to the reading material, is definitely, absolutely in the introduction, maybe in the explanations tying each point back to the thesis statement. And again, it would probably be a good idea to come back to the point raised by the book in your conclusion, but that's really all we're going to use the book for in this assignment and the next assignment. You're going to use it as a starting point, a springboard. So I've talked about the essays I've returned, I've talked about the assignment you're working on, and what I hope you can get done. I think that's about it. This is, like I said, week 4 of the quarter. Pace is picking up a bit. And as always, if you have questions, post them in the questions space in the week 4 materials. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.